Welcome again to our trip around the world using a straightway. Straightway is a app I wrote myself originally for hiking, for cycling, but I tweaked it a little bit so it can be used in aviation for VFR purposes as a backup system. So the idea is to demonstrate the full capabilities of straightway with these videos. So to that purpose, I wrote a little linking app between Straightway, which is on my phone, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. So Straightway really thinks we're in a real plane. So that's how it works. And today so that's where we are where we arrived yesterday, which is Jakarta. So we're in Jakarta, same place where we parked yesterday. We had a night out in the town, and today we're leaving for our 12th leg of our trip around the world, and we'll be going to the citation has a range of about 2,000 nautical miles, and today we're gonna put that a bit to a stretch, or test that a bit, because we're going to Australia. That's within range. So there's Darwin. There it is. There's not much choice at the north coast. No, it's Darwin is the only choice, and that's bound to be an airport. There it is. International Airport. This part is military because it's striped red. Red stripes means military, but this part is civilian. So just put our marker there, we do the fine-tuning for the approach, and then we see right away that the distance is 1,484 nautical miles from our current position, which is Jakarta. And you can see the whole... So we're flying basically along the southern islands of Indonesia, which is huge. Okay, so before we so we're on the apron here. It's a hazy morning, and what I'm gonna do right away is check the METAR for Soekarno Hatta, where we are. It's 33 degrees, and there's 10 knots wind, so we're suggested to take off from runway 6. Our barometer setting is 1010. So, final look around. They parked us at the big airway here, and let's head over to the cockpit. To start up, we always hold on. I have to adjust my pedals. Yeah. Great. That's definitely the noise of yeah, pedals moving. Everything's okay. So we do a quick checklist for the startup. So parking brakes set, and then our battery on, full on. Armed display, standby display on, and avionics on. Gonna warn the people that we're gonna, with our beacon, we're gonna start up. And then it's pretty easy. Just go like here, press the starter button, and then we press the remove the card and press the make sure our throttle is at 0. Okay, our left engine is starting up. Gonna wait till it's stabilized. That's perfect. Gonna do the autopilot setup already. So our barometer setting was 1010. Set to 1010. Our cruise altitude will be 41,000 feet. Flight level 410. Set. Our climbing speed will be our flight level change speed. Gonna use that as a climb mode. And that's also a standard setting of 230. That's just below. That's just below the limit of 250. So safe to climb out at all legal to climb out at all altitudes. And then our heading buck, we're gonna arm it as well. And let's have a closer look at where we're gonna taxi to. Take off from at 06, so we need to we're gonna take this runway to center 06C. That is probably 07 left. That's 07 left. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is taxi to this will probably be gonna go all the way till the end. To the end to here. So we'll make a turn off position here. Or perhaps do an intersection takeoff, because we're in a citation. It's airborne in no time, so this should be enough. It's a big runway. Here, and that means we have to go to here, and then we go here to the left, and no, we're gonna cross the away. This is where we're gonna go to the left. This just as reminders where we have to take our turns, and then we can go enter the runway here. Okay, that's all set. So we've got our general direction for Darwin, and we've got our taxi instructions, so to speak. There's no ATC in these demonstrations, and no airspace. It's just to demonstrate the straightway. And You have the car on the left. And there is the... gonna take our chances to the left, because I think we're gonna hit that car sooner. Let's hit the taxi lights. Or on F lights. And yeah, we won't need the logo lights. We do need to always set our oh yeah, before we forget, that's what you get when let's start. We need to start the right engine, of course. So you do that to save fuel. Run one engine, but it's easy to forget that you need to start up a second one. So we are at almost at 20 and 2. Good. And now we can start the second one. Remove guard and run. And put the guard back. Ah, that sounds better. Okay, so we're gonna taxi to the left. Perhaps wait first till the engine is stabilized. Too heavy recording. Just checking if the sound is okay. Yeah, everything looks fine. We need to make a 180. Parking brakes released. And taxi power full to the left. And this is our pickup line. Turn to the right and then to the left. Follow the line. There we are. So not turn to the left here, but the next one. So continue. To the next taxiway. And here we can turn to the left. A bit hazy. And we're on our way to our holding point for the runway. Straight on the line. And we're coming up on our turning off point. taxiways are shown in the straightaway, as you can see. So here we are. Now we need to turn to the right. Go. We are at the threshold for runway 07 left as planned, so we're gonna do our pre-takeoff checklist. First, the control surfaces are trim. Need to set it to takeoff, and then our flaps to 15. Okay, that's the control surfaces. Then our management system here. The pitot. And then we have the landing lights and the strobe. Then we're all set. We are gonna set our heading to 70. Our heading buck for the runway. And then we are ready for a rolling takeoff. So, there we go. Yeah, I tried to get the external view, and we're on the runway. Let's use as much runway as we can. We're already doing a intersection takeoff. And there we are. Well, we're gonna do a brake release takeoff. There we go, full power, rotate at 110, 105, 110. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Flaps up. And I'm going to engage the autopilot. Autopilot engaged. So we're climbing out over Jakarta. We've got these huge volcanoes in the background. Hold on, I'm gonna reduce power to climb power. Set to climb power. And have a look at our belly camera. Now these mountains in the background, they are, go to the elevation map. Those are these volcanoes, which is Mount Karang, 1,700 meters high. There they are, Mount Karang and Mount Gunung Pulosari. Okay, let's start turning towards Darwin. And how do we do that? We just make sure we change our heading bug approximately to visually to where the yellow arrow is pointing, like so. And then we'll do the fine tuning with the degrees. So turning. There are these huge volcanoes. And that's Jakarta. Huge, huge city. That must be downtown. The golf course. Nicely located, if you can afford it. Look at that. So Darwin is at 106 and we're at 104. So just visually. So we need 2 degrees to the right on the autopilot. 1, 2. And that should bring us to 106. And we are climbing out nicely. Above 10,000 feet, gonna extinguish the landing lights. There we are. I never noticed the nice logo of the citation on the yoke. In the leather. Wow. So, we're climbing out to our cruise altitude of 41,000 feet. To our right are these mountains. They're all volcanoes, I suppose. Some of them active, probably. Indonesia is the land of volcanoes, of active volcanoes. France has continental France has volcanoes too, but they are no longer active. Even Germany has volcanoes, but they're no longer active. And this is YBRM. YBRM is, where are we? We are here. So that's YBRM. Those are these 2 mountains. And that's the huge one, 3,000 meters. The Gunung Pangrango. Pangrango. And it's definitely a volcano. Look at that crater here and here. Another caldera. This looks more like a caldera, which is a collapsed crater. I'm not a volcanologist. So we're on our way to Darwin, Australia. And this is going in a straight line. You can enter waypoints in a straight way, but there's no need. Just gonna fly over the whole of South Indonesia, which is Jakarta. I think this is Jakarta Island. No, what's the name of the island itself? Sulawesi is. I think this is Sulawesi, the really big one. Or is it Sumatra? Doesn't say, unfortunately, the name of the island itself. Gonna change maps. Yeah, well, Sumatra. So this is probably Sumatra. Yeah, Sumatra. And this is Samarang, and then Malang. I don't think the spooky wind. I don't think the here's Sulawesi. The entire island has a name. I don't think so. Somebody knows. Okay, so climbing out very leisurely to our cruise altitude. We don't have to worry about our approach to Darwin. That's within some time. What I'm gonna do is increase our climb speed, vertical speed. We're climbing now at 1800. So that's at this power setting. So the citation has no auto throttle. That means, yeah, we have to do the throttle ourselves. But that also means if we set a speed of 230, the vertical speed is determined by our throttle setting. So if we set, the higher we set the throttle, the higher the vertical speed will become. We can do the reverse with the vertical speed mode. There we fix the vertical speed, and then we let the citation choose the airspeed for that throttle setting that reaches that vertical speed, which might be can be unsafe if you're climbing. I mean, if you're setting your vertical speed too high and you forget to raise your throttle, you can get it to end up in a stall, which is not. So that's why one of the reasons why I prefer flight level change. Fixed airspeed, safe, hands off. There we are. On our trip around the world, we're gonna do north side of Australia. Perhaps land here and then go this way and that way, Hawaii. But this will be a challenge because the distances in the Pacific are huge. And from Hawaii you can just make San Francisco or Los Angeles do the hub. So that's we've got limitations of our 2,000 nautical miles. That becomes a wall in the Pacific because it's that huge. Now with this new feature in Straightway, where you can just use the coordinates to go to a certain place on the globe, because you cannot enter names in Straightway, but you can enter coordinates, which is far, far better and less ambiguous. I'm gonna show you how to do that. Or perhaps first wait till we reach our cruising altitude. Just wondering if we go why don't we go to, since we're just only in the air, to Uluma, Ayers Rock, as it used to be called. That would be great. We're in the air now, so we have to make a decision. We're going approximately the right direction, and that would be a good way to show you the but it'll be dark when we get there. I think it'll be dark. Well, tell you what, it'll already start flying in that direction. Approximate direction. A bit to the right. And then we're gonna do a search on. Hold on. Gonna get to Claude. So I programmed Claude to give any place I type in the world, I programmed just to give an agent instructions. Any place in the world where that I give, Claude should return the coordinates in the format that Straightway accepts, which is pretty much the standard format, but just to make sure. So, Ayers Rock, I think that's the old name, the colonial name. I think it's Ulumi. We'll see. Ayers Rock. Okay, we are at 25. Uluru. Yeah. So here it is. I just copy the coordinates to Straightway here. Go like this, and now just click on the little flag, and there's Ayers Rock, and it's 1737 nautical miles. Okay, why don't we go there instead of Darwin, and then we can do our next trip to Cairns, and then go to
altitude.
Oops, hold on a second. So, we're a bit off. 6 degrees to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going straight for Ayers Rock. Whoops, and that's gonna take some time. We better check our fuel. Of course, there's a fair chance we arrive there at night. Yeah. So you won't see Ayers Rock, so it's a bit and we'll be there in 4 hours. Gee. That's a long trip. Perhaps you need to cut it in and see if we can land here somewhere when we reach Australian shores. Let's see. There should be another airport. Nope. There's nothing. Damn, there's nothing. Port Hedland. It's 1,000 nautical miles. Yeah, dear, we're stuck. Ah, Broome is another one. Does Broome have an airport? It has. How long is it? Oh, that should be enough. You see the compass rose? Diameter is 1.6 nautical miles, so it's about 1.6 nautical miles in length. That's, you can land 3 Cessnas 3 times on that with a Cessna. Okay, Broome it is. Let's put our target there. And that puts us at 1,000 nautical miles. Let's see what it 1,000 nautical miles. Ah, that's more like it. And we need to turn 3 degrees to the right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, our standard barometer, we never changed it. That's what you get with all the explaining. That's no disaster because there are no other planes, no risk of collision. There you go. We overshot. We need to go 5 degrees to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then when we leave for our next leg from Broome, so we're heading over the mainland of, and perhaps we should take a look, because there we are. Now let's have a look outside. Our fuel burn is 2,400, 700. And that we're gonna get an overspeed pretty soon. So I'm reducing that to 620. Perhaps it's. Let's see what that does. We're just at the limit. Anyway, let's have a look outside. Aha. And that's Gunung Slamet, 3,400 meters. Wow, impressive. And in the background there are some more volcanoes. It's volcanoes galore. And those volcanoes in the background must be these guys. Yep. And there's a really, really huge one. This one. No, it's not that huge. It's 3,200. It's just the perspective that makes sense. And then the other one way at the horizon, is this one. Mount, it's smaller. But this is definitely our guy now. go 3,428 meters. Pretty impressive. Just put our citation against that backdrop. We need to enjoy the scenery, because after that it's just ocean. It's just ocean. We would have had some more spectacular stuff, like this one, which also has a huge caldera. You can see the compass rose has a diameter of 9.3, so huge. The caldera has a diameter of 10 nautical miles. This too, another caldera. It is volcano country, Indonesia. But okay. At the 11th hour, we chose to change plans just because we can, and we decided to do a bigger stretch of Australia. Go to the center, to Ulumu, and from there we will go then not to Sydney because that's too far, but we can do Cairns and then do our crossing here, which would already be a challenge. Ooh. No, we can reach the Solomon Islands from Cairns, Guadalcanal and stuff. Do some sightseeing there. So, where are we? Here. Perhaps I should change the color of our current position. It doesn't stick out that much, but it's the color of straightway, so that's why I used the green circle. You can see it's progressing. And this is the city of Purwokerto. That must be it. Probably. At the foot of the volcano. Wow. Look at that. How does it look from our belly camera? There it is. 3,400 meters. The Gunung Slamet. That definitely looks an active volcano. You got this road going up, which must be this road here. Probably goes up to the top. No, doesn't go up. It's just a way of crossing with local people. This huge geographic obstacle in their world. They want to get to the other side. This also is an interesting feature. And that's this here. But anyway, we're not going there. We have a final look at the other volcanoes. Must be pretty spectacular in real life. So as a reminder, if you're in an airliner, you're even lower than this because we're at 41,000 feet. A typical airliner flies at only 30,000 feet, and you have straightway. You can do exactly what we're doing here. You can. The only thing you need to do is when you sit at the airport, you need to look at the maps, and then they're automatically stored in your phone. So just when you have your Wi-Fi, look at the maps, because in the plane you won't have Wi-Fi very likely, and then they're stored automatically in the map. So if you have a rough idea of what you will be flying over, just have a look in detail. Each level is another picture that's loaded in your phone. They're really tiles, like pictures. And then you can have the same experience, but in real life, the same experience with a straightway. Okay? So it's all free, the maps are free, and straightway is free. For the time being. Haha. And we are about to cross the coastline. Here we are at this mountainous outcrop into the ocean. This is sort of volcano, or it's probably a lava outflow from an eruption. Could it be? And it came from the volcano, which is already there, far behind us. And before us is the ocean. Now, the level of detail, I don't have to showcase it anymore of a straightway of OpenStreetMaps, really. This is the geographical map, but if you go to the human map, this one, and you go to the cities, even you might think that Indonesia, but as soon as there are people with a computer, they can access OpenStreetMap. And the little houses are drawn. They don't have any house numbers apparently in Indonesia, otherwise they would have been on there. So the mail does arrive, I suppose. Say they are not warrants, and even the roads don't really have names, only the big ones. So an app like Straightway in a place like this would be, because I don't like Google, if there are no names you can't enter addresses. But in Straightway you can just put your crosshair there and say go there. Okay, where are we? Over the water. saying goodbye to Indonesia, which we saw a fair share of, because remember in like 10, I think, we departed from Banda Aceh for Singapore, and then we had a very lovely view of this huge caldera. I mean, so we've been in and out of Indonesia, and now we're crossing, we're leaving, definitely leaving for Indonesia. On to Australia. And that strikes me, that it's completely cityless, and it's huge. Distances are huge if you look. So the diameter of the compass rose is 17 nautical miles. That's 100. What is that? 100 miles, and there's nothing. There's nothing. Only Broome. Where are we going? This whole peninsula. It's called the Kimberley. You can see the difference between the two maps. So this is the anthropologic map, the human map. If you go to the elevation map, that's no longer showing, because it's only interested in what nature looks like, not what humans, where humans made boundaries, or except for the international nautical territorial waters. But you only see the nature things. So if you switch back to the human map, and you can start seeing the names of things and the roads better, and the natural features have disappeared much more. Onslow. So here are we going to Broome. And why not already put in? So it's still 2 hours and 25 minutes. Let's see. Trying to keep as close as possible to the overspeed tape. We've got plenty of Can't I move? Okay, that's what I wanted to do. To get the yoke out of the way. And then let's have a look a bit at our fuel management. That's our fuel status. We have 3 hours and 20 minutes, and it's whoops. Because it's 2 hours. Yeah, so we have ample fuel to get there. Range to reserves is 1,427 miles, and we're only at 970 nautical miles. So we'll be fine. We won't be flying on fumes when we get to Broome. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna already have a look at the METAR for Broome, just to get a rough idea. We're over the ocean now. Broome International Airport, I suppose that's the one. Broome International Airport, Australia, see full METAR. And we have 9 knots. And it looks like we're fly in from the other side, which of course is no problem. So we'll be using runway 28 VFR. Perfect, 26 degrees. Isn't it supposed to be winter there? My god, it's June 7th. It's winter and it's 26 degrees. World is so unfair. Anyway. Let's head over to Broome. So this will be our runway. So what we do is this is the runway. We mark the 2 sides, the 2 thresholds with a marker, like so, and then the other one. And that gives us 2 things. First of all, the orientation of the runway, to a degree, to a very accurate. And second, the length of the runway. Because now we're gonna make these 2 dots into a route. You can have, in the base version, there are 7 waypoints you can use. So you can use of those 2 to enter the runway. And how are we going to do that? The last waypoint needs to be the active threshold. So this one, that's the last one we're going to enter. So we enter the inactive first, like so, and then add it. You select by, put it outside of the compass rose, somewhere, doesn't matter where. So you want to, we want to select this point here. Want to select this, just put it outside and click with your finger outside of the compass rose and it centers on it, and now it's selected and you can add it. There you are. Well, the elevation, that's the 3rd thing we need to enter. And that is, well, it's at the sea, it's probably 0. Let's just check for a good measure. Well, 20 meters. You see an elevation line here, 20 meters. Yeah, okay. So how do we enter then? Go to our little screen here, our navigation screen. Make sure we're at the last waypoint, so not this one. This is the inactive threshold. This is the active threshold. Okay, now this has to be activated, so magenta. And then click on the 105. Then it reverses, and now it's our landing direction, our landing runway, 28, remember? And if these 3 conditions have been fulfilled, then the little airplane has appeared. Click on it, and this is our VFR approach calculator. And the runway elevation should be 20. And our parent altitude, well, always take 1500. It's a nice one. And click on the orange button. It's really a button. There you go. And now we're here. We got some new information now. And that is our current altitude, which should correspond with whoa. We're still in view of the volcanoes. Wow, what a view. It's really beautiful. This should correspond with our approximately 41,000. Yeah, but this is standard barometer, so straightway is probably correct. And then there's the parent altitude, which is 1,565 feet. And then there is the top of descent distance. So top of descent is within 700 miles, nautical miles, which means we have time to go and have a coffee and a break and have a nap in the back. I'll just gonna leave it on autopilot. Ha! Our course is right on track. Just one to the right. So you may have noticed by now that we don't bother with magnetic courses when we use straightway VFR. We don't do calculations from magnetic to from the PFD to straightway. Straightway works with true north, and the PFD, of course, works with magnetic. We do it relatively, if that's the correct term. We'll link the autopilot up with the straightway, and we are the interface, and we're doing it in a relative way. Gonna reduce our speed, that we don't our throttle a bit, and that's it. So we're in for more than an hour, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave you because we're doing our flights in full recording. There's no cutting. It's real time. It's real weather. So even if there's nothing to see, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a last look at the volcanoes. Wow, what a picture. Straight behind us. Which one would that be? Well, that still must be the big guy. The big guy is the one on the left. And the other one is the one that's closer. It's probably one of those. It's probably this one or this one. It's hard to tell. Tell you what, I'm gonna leave you with Indonesia retreating from our site. And we'll get back somewhere along the flight. So, just had a lovely sunset. And hold on. Some more lights. That's better. And the sun is set, and we have 9 nautical miles to go. Top of descent, 7 nautical miles. Coming up. So once we reach 0, our top of descent, we'll get a glide slope, which will start at 2.5, and that we're gonna descend at 3. So 2.5 is a bit too shallow, and we'll start descending at 3. That's coming up about now. There we are, 2.5. So for 2.5 we should descend at 1800 feet per minute, but we're gonna go for 3 degrees, so we're gonna continue. And what we're gonna do is already put in our selected altitude, our pattern altitude. So 41,000 goes down to 1,500. Make it 1,600. Because we can only give in hundreds in the citation. Okay, so that's set. And then the only thing we need to do is as soon as we reach 3 degrees, we're gonna start descending. So we're at 2.7. Waiting for 3. Three is an average glide slope for any airliner to get down, and above 3 would be perhaps a bit too steep, and below 3 it's it's safer to have your glide angle as steep as possible, or because if you're mountainous terrain, which is now not the case, okay, it's just standard. 2.8. There's not much to see here. Except that we're on the straightway nearing our 3 degrees, so gonna set our vertical speed already, and then we can, when we hit 3 degrees, we can start descending. There you go. So I cut the power completely for the time being and put us at 2200, because that's what the straightway says. Just follow and add 1 round off. And there we go. We're descending at 3 degrees. 2200. So this is the speed I enter into the autopilot, because I'm just watching straightway and I'm rounding it up to the nearest 100. So it's 2200. And that should keep us on 3 degrees. The pilot is the interface between the autopilot and the straightway. Logo lights, put them on, and there we are. It's suddenly completely dark. Oh, got some profile. Still, that's nice. But you can see us descending towards Broome, Australia. And that's still 123 nautical miles. In 20 minutes we're on the ground. And there's not much we need to do. What we can do is check our the barometer, do a refresh, and let's see if anything has. Oh, you need to set the barometer, of course, for Broome. Broome, it's 10:16. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna arm that it's 10:16. So it says now you can arm it. It's not yet set. It's set at standard pressure. But then, well, 20 minutes it won't change anymore, and our wind is still blowing from, yeah, approximately the same direction. Modest wind. That's 3.2 before, 2 force 2, 7 knots. And VFR, great. We're gonna do a last check on the environment. So if we zoom in on our destination, just checking, it's completely flat. Green means flat. It's flat as a pool table. So there's no hazard. We can just fly, circle the airport as much as we want at a pattern altitude of 1500. There's no risk at all. There's no pylons that are 1500 meters high. Except for out of the traffic, but it's a lonely world we're flying in this flight simulator. we're doing on our descent rate, 2000. A bit too. Yeah. There we go. 1900. Gonna reduce it to 1900 because we're already at 2.9. So I keep it on the low side, like 1800. Okay, we're back on track. 2000. You can also use this feature when you're doing your approach. Imagine you're it's suddenly an IFR and you only have straightaway. Then you need to fly some kind of GPS ILS. That doesn't exist in real life, but that's what you would really be doing. So you would be tracking the descent line of the airport and then start descending as soon as your glide slope is 3 degrees, and keep it on it with your vertical speed, and work the throttles to keep your airspeed. That's how you would do that, and we've done that already, I think, it was in Pakistan. It was really IFR, and we had to land. There was no yeah, keeping on 3 yeah, it's important not to let it slip to 2.9, 2.8, because in the end it will be really approaching it too shallow an angle, and that can get you immediately. There are mountains or stuff like that. So Australia is dead ahead, and where are we on the territorial waters? We've already some time with the territorial airspace. Broome, what is that to see in Broome? It looks pretty residential. There's an aquatic center. There's a gas station. Not much. Campus. Is that a university? High school. Tennis courts. The Broome Recreation and Aquatic Center, and there is a big pool. Wow, a big swimming pool. This climate, that's wonderful. And at the north side, it's all residential. I don't know where people work. Cable Beach Sanctuary, the caravan park, and apart from that, in the neighborhood, if you zoom out, look at that. So the radius of the circle is 50 nautical miles. There's nothing there. We can zoom even more out. We're at 100 nautical miles. Nothing in the neighborhood. It's amazing, amazing. That country is empty. It really is. 1800, and we're doing 16. We're at 3. Perfect. So don't expect any lights of a city, of a shoreline to appear in front of us, because there's nothing there but Broome, and we're still 80 nautical miles away. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fly a right base, like so, and then so we'll the maximum we'll approach the center line. Yeah, that's the magenta figure 29.8. That's the cross-track error to the center line of the runway. We want to keep that at least 10 nautical miles, and then can we do a very lazy pattern downwind at 10 nautical miles. So we should keep an eye on that, though we are still 71 nautical miles away from the threshold. That's, remember, waypoint number 2. That's our runway threshold. So though we are still 17 nautical miles away, distance to the center line is only 27 nautical miles. Two different things. So there's really two things we need to do as our pre-approach checklist. That is, set our barometer to the actual barometer of Broome, QNH, and then light up our landing lights as soon as we descend under 10,000 feet. There's really not much to see. 11 minutes to a touchdown. After a 2-hour or more flight from Jakarta. If you've been with us as long as that, which would be admirable, because even I wasn't in the airplane as long, or at least not at the controls. So I can't expect my viewers to watch the full sea go by, an ocean go by. And here we are, coming up on Broome, and we're perfect on the glide slope. Speed is already also perfect, under 250. So we won't be exceeding the 250 worldwide valid speed limit. And we get a notification that we should change to local, which we're gonna do. There we are. We've changed that. It's hard on the screen to distinguish between straightaway and the cockpit, because they're both computers. That's the reality. We're simulating a computer. The flight computer of the... that's how aviation has evolved. No doubt much safer, but it has lost some of the mystique and romance of used to be associated with flying. But, well, 20 nautical miles from our center line. So as soon as we reach 10, or perhaps a bit earlier, we'll start flying parallel to the runway, which is we fly the course of the magenta arrow, which is the reciprocal of 285. 285 is the direction that we will land in. That's why the arrow is pointing towards us. But we need to fly the reciprocal in our downwind right base downwind. And we can see already here, for once we have a look at the MFD, the multifunctional flight display of the Cessna, and you can see YBRM. That's the only, so that's our destination. Yeah, Broome. Yeah, the Y is for Australia, I think. And we'll be reaching our parent altitude just before we reach. You see the white line, the arc. That's when we reach 1600 feet AGL. Our parent altitude. So the calculations straightaway are correct. Gonna reduce our descent rate. Don't forget, always have to keep watch straightaway that the descent rate in our autopilot corresponds more or less with the descent rate on straightaway, and that may change because you can have a headwind suddenly and stuff like that. Or if you change your throttle, of course, but we haven't done that, so it must have been the headwinds. And now we're back. We already dropped to 2.9, but that's no problem. And you can see our descent arc has approached the airport a bit more. Gonna have a look outside, and there's nothing to see there, just our navigation lights. It's pitch dark. Pitch dark as we are in the tropics. We are in the tropics. We are within 23 degrees, so we're in the tropics latitude. Are we? Yes, we are. Look at the bottom. 17, our latitude. To the south, Australia. And there you get, of course, these light out sunsets. Because the sun descends at a very steep angle over the horizon. Not a shallow angle like you have in more northern or southern latitudes. At higher latitudes. Okay, back to our 10,000 feet coming up, so I'm gonna light up the landing lights already. There you go. Now I'm gonna try and not forget to extinguish our pitot, because apparently if you don't do that, they will burn out as soon as the plane, the airflow has stopped, especially in a tropical climate. And actually I can already do that here. Let's see what that static cold standby. Tell you what, we'll do that once we're our speed is we're slightly above 250. And our turn to the left, almost forgot, 9. So we're under our 10. And you see how master caution. How quick you're behind the airplane. But this is no drama. You overshot it, but it's not what we wanted to do. So that's perhaps I can put it down to all that talking I'm doing, but that would be too easy. So we're gonna move away back till it's 10. So there we are. We should be seeing the airport at our right side, somewhere over there. We got some city lights, must be Broome. Very faintly. Yeah. Must be Broome. So we're flying parallel to the, on our downwind, right downwind now. Try to keep. So we're gonna pass the airport till it's at our 4 o'clock, something like that. So all we need to do is watch our when we reach our apparent altitude, adjust our speed, and throughout the we will try keeping our speed just below flaps 30 speed. So we don't need to adjust, we can lower our flaps 30, so full flaps at any time. And there we are on our downwind.
Altitude.
Coming up on our altitude. And then we'll get our speed down as fast as possible. We're cutting the power now, so we'll drop fast under our first flap speed. Do that at the same time as our pattern. And we can set the power again. And 1500. Flaps out. 15. Flaps to 15. That looks great. Yep. Where's the airport? The belly camera. If you look to our right, the airport must be really a beam. Must be there somewhere. started at 11 nautical miles from the center line, so I'm gonna do a few. Doesn't really matter. There's no obstacles, nothing. So we can take all our time. We'll extend our gear once we turn on base. Nautical miles away in a straight line to the threshold. We can start doing a DME arc if you want of 11 nautical miles till we reach the approach line. So we will do that. We'll start doing a DME and keep the yellow arrow at 90 degrees. That's a DME. So gently turning to the right. So it's a DME. We're circling the airport. I'm gradually putting nudges to the right on the heading bug, if you watch the screen. Just to keep that yellow arrow at 90 angles. Now I overshot a bit, so I'm gonna do nothing till the yellow arrow drops again to 90 degrees. Extend the landing gear. Well, still have some time. Okay, so I extend the landing gear. See it vaguely. The nose wheel is yeah. And our speed drops. So give it a few notches. Our distance to the threshold remains about constant, which is the idea. We're circling the threshold, the DME arc of about 12 nautical miles around the threshold. We're doing that manually. And we're back in the dark. Nothing to see here. Now, once we have a distance of 2 nautical miles, we should start turning full on approach. So you see 4.6. So I'm gonna get us slowly to a perpendicular. We have enough distance to the airport. Anything to see outside? No. So we can focus on our instruments here. Okay, so we're now perpendicular to the runway. We're just waiting to drop under 2 nautical miles, 230, 225, 22, and they will turn about 245 degrees intercept angle. There you go, 45 degrees intercept angle. Go. Miles away from the airport. Make sure we don't overshoot the thing. Overshot it a tiny bit. I'm deliberately not watching it out of the 280, and we should be 285, so we're gently approaching the center line. Perhaps have a look outside. And there is the airport. Straightways right again. So we'll line us up now using straightway. And at 3, we're now at 2 degrees glide slope. We'll disconnect the autopilot. Flaps out, gear is out. And now we're almost perfectly on the center line. There it is. Almost perfectly. Gotta use the autopilot as long as possible. 2.6 glide slope. My feet on the autopilot. Oh. Luckily that didn't disengage the autopilot. My feet on the pedals, I mean. And 3. Okay, autopilot disengage.
Autopilot.
And flaps out. Certainly a bit too high, but that doesn't matter. See how little things like the pedals put you off your mark. Speed is good. At 3.7, which is a bit high. That's better. We should be at 600, and we are at 600. Real low, 2.5. And cut her. There we are. So welcome in Broome. I think we need to go all the way to the end of the runway. Turn some taxi lights. Yep, I think we missed it. Let's have a look. Okay, that'll be the next one. Here it is. Look at the red, definitely in Australia. The red terrain. This one we should have taken. Just before we continue, let's taxi lights and strobe off. Yeah. Should have done that earlier. Gives you a better view. Where are we going? Yeah, before we continue, just have a look at what is there. Well, there's not much options. We'll just go here. Yeah, and we know that we have to turn to here, and then to we'll park here somewhere on the apron. Yeah, you need a plan. Foxtrot. Here we are. Is it Foxtrot? Yeah. We were in center on our position. That's what you get. Broome International Airport. We're coming up on the apron. This is all apron to the left of it. I don't have any charts, so I think I'll just pop us in for the night. Don't think there is any bigger building. There are a lot of helicopter pads, but so we'll just turn here to the left. And hopefully we won't hit any buildings. So, there we are. Welcome to Broome, welcome to Australia. We finally got to Australia because we started in Belgium. And it took us 12 legs. But of course we took our time. So zooming out, where are we? Here we are. So, I hope you enjoyed this yet another leg in our trip around the world, and hope to welcome you next time. And probably we will go to the center of Australia, to Ayers Rock, Ulumu, because there's an airport nearby, and then we can do some sightseeing, perhaps flying over the rock. So, catch you next time. Bye bye.